Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello. I hope everything's working now. I've been having a little bit of difficulty getting my stream to work. I'm in Buenos Aires in some random hotel, and sorry, technical difficulties always dictate my streams, even though I'm had the correct intention of doing it on time, which was my usual Friday time, which is 7 a.m. El Salvador time, 2 p.m. UK time. I'm now 2 hours running behind schedule. I, I'm really sorry. I apologize. But anyway, I think I'm up. I'm just looking at the stream now. I'm looking at the bandwidth. It's looking quite good. I finally got everything to work. So fundamentally, the problem is that in Argentina, they have completely different sockets and none of them were working. And my laptop doesn't have a great battery, so I have to plug it in. And yes, so here I am struggling. And yeah, so I'm live now. Let me have a look at the health of the stream. I guess no one really knows. I think people were expecting me to come a little bit earlier, and no one actually knows what's going on. So I'm just going to kind of, there you go, Chili's here. Well, yeah, whatever. Chili, go back to work. Go back to work, Chili. Let me just publicize this in my Discord. Send the message out. Tell people I'm live. There you go. Going over. Let me just put this on the right screen so people can see what I'm doing, so they don't think I'm messing about. There you go. TRVL and BTC. There you go. You're finished, huh? All right, whatever. Anyway, so let's have a look at Bitcoin. That's kind of what we're going to be doing here this morning. First, as always, I have a look at Bitcoin, even though my charts are permanently locked on TRVL. I'm going to start at Bitcoin, and I'll kind of go back to what I was talking about Friday. I'm going to kind of hide all this information a little bit. So this is interesting here, because Friday, what did I say? I said this is probably a good place to long. I created a trade plan. I said we probably need to reclaim this level. We had a little break up, a little pullback, and then break up. Now this was the key. You were looking for a reaction. So when you're looking to short, you don't just short blindly. And so do you see how the price here exploded up? There's no short there. If you got a reaction and the price rejected, that would be a short. And so when you have a short idea, you're only looking for the reaction first before you take the short. And so you don't take the short because there's clearly no reaction, and you've got all of this liquidity, and the price just goes through all of this liquidity, clears it all the way up to the local value area high. And so there's no short. Actually, there's no short. You're actually looking at a breakout, and effectively the long idea here was correct. Yeah, so if you've been following my streams, I'm doing them every week now, just once a week on the Friday. You'll know that I'm not making this up. I'm just doing it live. And here, look, read that. Why I'm bullish on a higher low. You see that? Bitcoin price analysis. I did it live last Friday. I just looked at the charts, analyzed it, looked at the previous week, trade ideas, and then I just basically made this up live. Never looked at the charts in that period of time. Created the trend line. I said that you can't short here, and probably you'll be looking for a reclaim, and then you can probably long, and then possibly looking to take it all the way up to where I said that was kind of your first target. Abu Bakr Yahya. Thank you for Did that come up on the, let me just see, because your, I'm wondering if my did that come up on screen? I'm just having a look at my screen. Yes, it did. You're welcome. Right. He says, thank you for all you do for TRVL. How's El Salvador? Well, actually, I'm in Buenos Aires. I'm in Argentina. I'm at the southern tip of the Americas right now. That's where I am now. I'm in a hotel lobby in Buenos Aires. And yeah, El Salvador's amazing. You should come and visit. So I was looking at high low here. Do you see that? And possibly for some kind of bullish pennant. But what we're seeing now on Bitcoin is a breakout. So even if that was a good take profit, it's clear to see that the price hasn't rejected from the area. We've cleared all the liquidity. And what I'm going to do now is delete all of my analysis, get rid of all this shit. And that trend line held. You see that trend line? You see how it held? We get rid of all of this shit now. All of it's gone. Actually, I don't want to have it. I wouldn't mind having a look at that because there was an inverse head and shoulders which came back into the, and we came back over the neckline. All right, that's quite interesting. We'll keep that. We'll get rid of this. What's that one? Get rid of that now. All of this is old stuff. So it actually, look, it fell lower and then it came back and it flipped the same area. So that's what crypto does sometimes. It does the thing that you want, but it often does it differently. Let's get rid of this shit. Let's get rid of all of this now. We'll get rid of all of this. This trend line. We can get rid of all of these and just focus on what really matters. All right, so let's look at that. Get rid of these. What's that? That's interesting, isn't it? See that it comes. These levels are kind of pretty much standard. It's where the liquidity is. We can get rid of that now. I think we can get rid of that. What's that V-shaped long? That was much lower. Get rid of that. We have the single prints. All right. So we've got all of that removed. We cleaned our charts up a little bit. Let's hide this stuff. We keep that trend line. We'll get rid of that. It's good to clean the charts up a little bit. And what we're looking for are the levels first. So let's just have a look at the levels. Let's just make sure all our levels are correct. So first we'll go to the higher time frame levels. You can see that we've got this monthly level. We've gone through it. There's another monthly level lower down. There. So that one is now washed. So typically I'll just rename it to washed or whatever you want to call it. Tapped, washed. Go to the weekly levels. That weekly level is now washed again. It's still relevant because we're at it for a back test. So we still need to flip it. This one is gone now. We can get rid of that. And then we have one down there. Weekly, weekly. That's a washed weekly. That one's gone. All right. Daily. Get rid of this one. There's one here now. You see that? There's a daily there. There's a daily level there. This one is washed. It needs to be flipped, but let's just kind of rename it. So these are liquidity levels that are gone, and we still have one daily level up there. So our higher time frame levels are set. These are our levels. You can see that this washed weekly is actually flipped. You see that? Into support level. So that's now acting as support. Do you see that? Perfect tap. That's a confirmation of this level being, it's washed in that the price went through it. You see it cleared it here and then it went through it and then it's cleared it and now it's back tested it as support. Now we know that that level is a relevant SR flip, and that is our levels. Let's have a look at the volume. We'll go to the daily time frame. We'll look at both of the volumes. We'll look at the local range. We'll look at the higher range. I'll do both. Just make sure the volume is still relevant. So the value area is high, is a little bit higher. The point of control is still where it is. We've got a high volume node. It's slightly higher now. There. Got another high volume node there, and then we've got the value area low there. We'll hide that. We'll go to the local volume. Let's have a look at the local volume. Value area low. Local point of control, and we're kind of into the value area high now. Do I enjoy Argentina? Well, I arrived at 4:15 a.m. last night. I've had 2 hours of sleep. It's so far so good. It looks pretty much like Europe. Actually, it looks a bit like London. It's cloudy like London. So yeah, so far so good. I haven't really explored. Here I am with you guys streaming. Chile is in London. I guess you're somewhere in, I think you're in Africa, right? I don't know. Nigeria, I'm guessing. But correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. So we've got our volume done. We've got our higher time frame levels. Now what we want to have a look at is the order flow. Let's have a look at the single prints first. So we have a bunch of single prints on the way up. You can see that, can't you? And I'm going to mark these out. 114731 to 116352. That one's been filled. Big selling tail. There's some single prints here. Let me mark these ones off as well. 109 791 to 110 294. Let's mark those off. They're your kind of big blocks of single prints. Let's have a look at the daily. We have a daily, we have some daily naked points of control. We have one here. See these red lines, these red horizontal lines. 119220. Naked daily point of control. One 119200. One 16200. 113120. 111308. Right. Let's go and have a look at the weekly levels, the weekly naked points of control, if there are any. There's one here, which we haven't hit. That's actually quite a strong one. I'll tell you why, because I don't understand, but there's like two levels on one place. 111400. Weekly naked point of control. 100. Keep an eye on that one. Okay, no more there. We'll have a look at the monthlies. And we have a monthly naked point of control here. 111,500. See that? So that's a really strong level. So we have that. Let's have a look at the order flow right now. I can see some bullish divergence as the price broke to the upside. You can see the CVD is going lower. The price is putting in higher lows. We're above the daily open. We're above the VWAP. It's bullish. It's a bullish state. Even though we're breaking out, it's a bullish state. I can't see any bearish divergences here. Definitely no way to short this. You can't short this because there's no bearish divergence. We've cleared through the liquidity like a hot knife through butter. So there's no shorts on the table right now. And obviously you can't long either. We have created some single prints in this recent push to the upside. Let me just make sure that I've marked them off. These are some recent single prints. So really these are like scalp, to be honest with you, on the current session. But I'll mark those off as well. And then I'm going to go back to the main charts and have a look at my main chart. And I don't know if people are paying attention. And, you know, I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not a fortune teller. I have a little bit of intuition. I have a little bit of a gut feeling when I do things, when I say things. But look at this, BTC Bulls Control. I posted that on the 1st of October. Mega bullish, support held. I do have a little look at the charts, and I kind of try and make some kind of graphic to indicate what I'm seeing, but not financial advice. I do kind of give clues as to what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing in the charts. It's all based on technicals, and so all I do is just look at the technicals. And actually, it's quite interesting because I got a really nice comment from someone recently. I just want to show you, and it was on my last Bitcoin video. And if you look here, look, this guy Henry X Prime, he says, just came across your channel, quite an interesting way you analyze the market, good watch. So anyway, I'm just kind of looking at options. That's all I'm doing. All I do is I look at options for the upside, options for the downside. I'm looking at liquidity levels. That's why I go through the higher time frame levels, the local volume, the higher range volume, the naked points of control, the single prints, and then I look at fib levels too. And ideally what you're looking for is confluence. When you're taking trades, you have to use correct risk management. You have to risk somewhere between 0.5 and 1% of your trading portfolio. Maximum, you have to have an invalidation, and that has to be either a hard invalidation or a soft invalidation, but there must be an invalidation. You have to have your take profit 1, take profit 2, etc. predetermined. And once you have your trade plan, you can scale into a long short at the right, after you see the right reaction. That's how it's done. I'm not advocating for any other trading method. There's so many ways to trade, but I'm just kind of focused on liquidity levels, areas of confluence, using correct risk management, and scaling in long or short in the areas of interest with hard or soft invalidations. And obviously it goes without saying, but then when you take trades, you journal your trades as well. And then you're creating stats over a longer period of time. You're creating stats so that you know which trades work and which trades don't, so you can learn from your experiences. That's how it's done. And so anyone who's advocating different, they have a different idea or a different method, that's fine, but that's not what I'm advocating. And basically I learned this method from chart champions, and so I think it's a very effective method as long as you're disciplined. And so I'm not going to take credit for something that doesn't belong to me. And actually it's probably an established method across the whole of the world, the rest of the world. It's the hardest part is the keeping your emotions in control and maintaining discipline. So looking at the charts now, if I bring up all of the liquidity levels, which is what I'm going to do now. And actually what I haven't done is I haven't updated the single prints. So let me just update the single prints and the naked points to control. I've got these figures in mind. So what am I going to do is I'm going to delete these ones which are cleared already. You see how these have been cleared? They've all been cleared. We're into some more single prints here, so they're kind of being cleared as we speak, as you can see. And I'm going to start marking these off, starting at the lowest point, just to have them as a point of reference. 114731. Oops. Through to 116352. Okay, let's get rid of this naked point, daily point control. That's gone. This weekly's gone too. Let's clear this shit. Clear this old data. SSR flip. Get rid of that for now. Not relevant. What's this line here? That was a previous all-time high. Look at that, how it came down for a test there. That was nicer. Get rid of it now. What's the next set of single prints that we have? 109791 through to 110294. Single print, single prints. We have a naked daily point of control. Let's just mark those off. Let's put the other single prints in. That's 121. Oh shit. Let's clear this now. Zero, 2, basically where we're at now, huh? So we're putting in some single prints exactly where we're at now. Yeah. Shit. Just do that again. Uh, 121258. Kind of where we're at now. We're just putting in some single prints. And then we have some single prints above us, which we haven't tapped into yet. So let's just see how this plays out. Let's get rid of the single prints. Shmoo, welcome. Haven't caught you live in a while. Hope you're well. QANX ready to rip. Yes, Xing audit will be wrapped this month per Johan. I'm going to be analyzing QANX, so just stay online. We can go through QANX. So we've got the single prints. Let's have a look at these NPOCs as well. So we have the naked weekly point of control. What number is that? Where is my, there it is, monthly, weekly, there it is. What value is that? 111400, bam. The monthly is there too, shit, that's quite a strong area of support. A tad higher. And a daily 119. I'll do the dailies as well. So these are naked points of control, previous points of control from previous time frames. I'll do them in one by one. 119200. Start at the top. Work our way down. 116200. 113120. 111308. 130. So let's sell naked points of control from the previous time frames. And now that we have all of that data, we have our volume, we have our higher range volume, we have our higher time frame levels with the wash levels marked out, we have our single prints, we have our naked points of control. And what you can do, and we haven't put in a pivot yet, so you can always go from the all-time high to the pivot low here to look for the fib levels. And we've clearly passed the golden pocket, and we've back tested the golden pocket too. You see that? And you're basically looking where the lines are, the areas of confluence for liquidity levels. And you see there's quite a lot, actually. We've got quite a lot of support levels further down. The strongest level at the moment is going to be this level here, down here at 111, 400, 500, because you've got three levels kind of coinciding. But I mean, is anyone really gonna, if this just crashed, would you dip there? Would you long there? It'd be harder, but that's kind of the area, isn't it? Look, and it's 786 as well. That's the area. So really, for continued upside, what you really want to do is flip the value area, and you can see the value area because you've got the value area high here. What you want to do for continued upside is you want to flip that into support. If the price can flip the value area into support, the whole lot, then we can have a breakout like that. And then when you have a breakout like that, what you want to do is you want to flip the all-time high into support for continuation. That's really what needs to happen. Okay. And so the first thing to do now is to flip this value area into support. That's for continuation to the upside. But at the moment, there's no short opportunities because we've sliced through the liquidity as though it doesn't exist. And there hasn't been any significant reaction. And naturally, the price is clearly still wants to go up. That's what's happening now. And even though there might be some kind of bearish harmonic in play, it is possible that we're looking at a bearish harmonic here, like a crab. If we are seeing something like a crab, you still need a reaction. And let me just get the harmonics image, so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh, it's so fuzzy, isn't it? I can't see shit. Let's see if I get a better image. Instagram, huh? Don't want it. Why is it Instagram? That's the image that I wanted. It's the poor image. Let's try this one. That's better. Don't worry about Forex. So if it's a crab, it's like this, isn't it? You're taking the high or a D. That's kind of what it looks like at the moment, isn't it? So and if it's some kind of bearish Gartley. Doesn't look like it at the moment, but as long as you don't take out this X, then you'll basically be doing this. But then it has to put in a pivot, and you'll be more like, I don't see that at the moment. But right now, what I'm seeing more likely than not is a crab, a bearish crab, which is this one here, and can't be too strict on these ratios, but possibly looking for 130k, which would be correct, because I do have 130k as an Elliott wave target. There, see that? This is from before. For me, that makes sense, huh? So you have an Elliott wave target with a crab harmonic at 130k. And then what you're looking for is some kind of timing here. So that's pretty sharp. That's pretty steep. I'd prefer something a little bit further. It's a tricky one because it depends on how aggressively we go up. If it goes up too aggressively, then you're not forming a crab anymore because you're going up too fast. Yeah, it doesn't look right. And you basically want to put in a pivot. I'd say a 1-to-1 on that move. The earliest would be Tuesday, but ideally later on next weekend, the weekend afterwards, and then it would look right. But then you'd get stuck at 130k. You'd have to get stuck at 130k to look like a bearish crab. Otherwise, I don't really see another harmonic unless you've got this one here, which is more of a butterfly or a crab. It's basically a bearish crab or a bearish butterfly. See, a butterfly kind of is a little bit lower. It just kind of tips the X. So you basically, what you're getting is a pretty much a swing failure of the all-time high. That would be a butterfly. And I think a crab would be more of a failed auction. Yeah. So the difference between a butterfly and a crab in this context is that you've got the all-time high. So let's just get rid of these liquidity levels, because the only one that matters is, they don't really matter at the moment because I still feel like we got more upside. So I'll bring him back in a second. Probably heading to 130k, and I've always talked about 130k as a magic fib level, and I've got those fibs marked out from a previous Elliott wave analysis in my previous streams. I've always talked about 130k being the magic target number. So that's the area that I'm still targeting. Nothing's changed. I wasn't phased by this push down. As you saw last week, I was bullish, higher low. I was kind of thinking higher low. And that's why I had this trend line drawn, isn't it? For a higher low. I did that last Friday, didn't I? Everyone saw that. I just saw that and I just put that trend line in. And so right now I'm thinking either a crab or a butterfly. I think a crab is more my preferred harmonic. And what you really want to do is have a failed auction. And so you want the price to kind of go up, whatever, do whatever it wants to do here. And the only way you're going to know that this is a failed auction is if you lose the previous, so that becomes a failed auction. And then if you get that kind of behavior, then you're targeting wherever you put in a pivot, you're targeting the 50 fib. That would be your target. It's kind of like a V-shaped recovery idea where you have this kind of, that's your V, and you're coming back for a neckline test. So it's only bearish to the 50 fib, depending on how we put this pivot in. And no one really knows how this is going to play out. And no one knows how this pivot is going to be put in. But ideally, wherever you put the pivot in, you're looking to come back to the 55th. And so what you have to do is you have to wait for the pivot to be put in. You have to wait for the price to react and to create this harmonic, which at the moment, my preferred one is a crab. All right. If you're going for a butterfly, it's more of a swing failure. Bearish crap. I mean crab. And it's more of a swing failure, and the swing failure will be off the all-time high. And effectively, you're kind of just going, bam, that's it. That's a swing failure. And if you get a swing failure, that I think that would be more of a butterfly. There you go. Something like that. You've got butterfly. And again, it's the same idea with butterfly. You're coming back down to the 55th. That would be your first target. It'll be easier to see because you're just getting a swing failure off the all-time high. I prefer a crab. And the reason why I prefer a crab is because it'll be harder to see for a lot of people. You'll get a lot of bullish, aggressive buying at the all-time highs for a continuation of the breakout. The price falls back underneath the all-time high, previous all-time high, and then it becomes a failed auction and you're coming right back down for liquidity. Let's do, when we've hit our 130 magic target, let's just say we do get that. Then you put back the liquidity levels. There you go, local point of control. Why not come back to the local point of control here for a back test there? Actually, why not come back to the point of control? Yeah, why not have a failed auction at 130k and then come all the way back down for a big test at the point of control? And that's really what you want to see for a long after you go up to 130k all the way back down to 117k. Why not? Fill those single prints right back down into the point of control. And then we have a chance to react to the point of control. Then we have a chance to flip this value area high, this whole value area into support, and then explode up for continuation type thing. Does that make sense? And I'm not sure about the timings, because if we do get a strong reaction from the point of control, it is possible that we just do an easy flip and push up for another push to the all-time high. So it will look like a failed auction, but actually it's just a V-shaped recovery coming back for a 55th test after rejection of 150k, and then you'll be going right back up to clear the shorts and clear the liquidity from the all-time high again. I think that's really where I'm at the moment. So I'm looking for a failed auction with a reaction at 150, 130, all the way back down to a neckline test at 118 for another long. If it holds, and it's really important that it holds, yeah. So you need a reaction at the point of control, and then going all the way back up to the all-time high. It's kind of where I'm at right now with what I'm looking at the charts. And assume it's the assumption is that we kind of top out here, because the price of Bitcoin can always rally. You know that. So you don't just blindly short. You look for a local higher time frame. Sorry, a local time frame market structure change first. Otherwise, there's no short. You're looking for a change of market structure on the 5-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, into 130k. Once you get that, then you can short on a local golden pocket, and you can take it all the way down to 117 and a half, 118k, and then you'll be looking to long it back on a reaction off the point of control right back up to the all-time highs. It's kind of where I'm at right now with the price of Bitcoin, the way Bitcoin is behaving, and let's just see if we can take the all-time high out first. If you get some bearish CVD and you get local market structure change at 130k, that'll be a really good place to short, and then that'll if you can get that to happen next weekend and then pull back all the way down to 118, that would be an amazing short. And then there'll be a long opportunity. And then it's always possible for the long to fail, and you have a corrective price action rather than a continuation price action. It's always possible. And instead of having continuation, you're actually creating some kind of ABC going for lower. All right, so that's a really good place to short. Let's see if we can get that kind of price action. So that's kind of where I'm at with Bitcoin. I'm not going to dwell much longer. I'll put this here. Not financial advice, all entertainment value only. If you do take these trades, you have to use correct risk management and have a clear invalidation and clear take profits, only risking what you can afford to lose, which for most people is nothing. So don't risk anything. All right, that's Bitcoin. Any questions? I think I've been clear about what I'm looking for. Let's just quickly have a look at a few other things pertaining to Bitcoin. What have I got here? ETH. Let's have a look at this price action. I mean, look, I did look at that harmonic. I did kind of say that was the top, wasn't it? And it pulled that, didn't it? It could still be corrective. I don't know if this is just going to pump. It's hard to know. It looks like with ETH, we are kind of still potentially putting in a lower high. But, you know, ETH could always pump and make another all-time high. So, oh, ETH BTC doesn't look bullish at the moment. It still looks corrective. We're still underneath the point of control here. So I'm not sure that ETH is going to pump. And maybe we're going to still continue seeing the capital rotation. And ETH is going to go sideways. You see that ETH? I can't see the value rocketing into ETH yet from Bitcoin. So let's have a look at Bitcoin dominance. Kind of still lingering here, aren't we? Just what's the weekly look like? Let's get rid of these lines. I mean, last week was bullish, so for Bitcoin dominance, and so we're seeing Bitcoin dominance continuation. But the market, the monthly was bearish. That's not bullish. So that monthly time frame candle, that green one, is really bearish. So actually, I'm probably inclined to think down, huh? I don't think up or sideways and then down. I'm not like looking at this going, wow, this is really bullish or Bitcoin dominance. Looking at these candles, that 3 monthly candle was mega bearish. Look at that. That's a 3 monthly bearish engulfing with increasing volume. It's really bearish 3 monthly candle, actually. So I'm really feeling bearish on Bitcoin dominance at the moment on a higher time frame. What I haven't done is I haven't looked at the Bitcoin 3 monthly candle. Let me have a look at that quickly. It's bullish, that 3 monthly candle. Oh fuck, what's one of these lines? That's a bullish 3 monthly candle. Why? Because it's a close. It's a higher close. That's the highest close on a 3 monthly candle on Bitcoin ever. That's really bullish. Closing higher is bullish. And you've got the price goes up, clears liquidity. It's bearish in the sense that you've got a selling tail, but it's bullish because it closes higher. Let's have a look at ETH. Again, ETH is looking quite bullish as well. Look at that. It's the highest 3 monthly close, isn't it? And look at ETH BTC. That's a higher close above that previous candle. You reverse all of that volume. This is looking like a nice reversal on ETH BTC. So everything's looking bullish for altcoins, to be honest with you. Even Solana That 3 monthly candle was really bullish. Look, it closed higher. Really nice 3 monthly candle there. Let's have a look at BNB as well, because that was putting in some all-time highs, wasn't it? Look at BNB. That's a really highest close ever, above $1,000. So you have a pretty strong psychological level at $1,000 now, which has to hold the support for continuation, which it looks like it wants to, huh? And remember my stream, I said a few weeks ago, I said $1,000 is a good place to sell. It was until the market bought back at $930 and then pushed it all the way up to 1,143. So Binance coin is still rallying, huh? For that, it's rallying. All right, let's just quickly have a look at Pax Gold. Yeah, Pax Gold looks like it's yeah, that's a really bearish 3-month candle, that green one. And now we're getting a sell-off from Pax Gold back into BTC. So you think those green candles look bullish, but they're not. They're bearish. And they've cleared the liquidity from the lows. And it's a market buy. And therefore, we're getting a pullback. And it's falling. Let's have a look at USDT dominance. Continuation. It's looking bearish. It's not looking like a reversal just yet. Decreasing prices, increasing volume. That's bearish. See that? See the volume, increasing volume, decreasing prices, or percentages. That's bearish. So on a higher time frame, USDT dominance is bearish. Royale says QANX is not increasing. All right. So that's kind of my overview of the markets. Any questions, please leave comments on the YouTube stream or on my X page. I'm happy to kind of answer. You've got my outlook for BTC now. So let's see what happens next. I'm really still quite bullish for continuation on BTC. And we get, look, even here you can see increasing prices, increasing volume. That's bullish. Let's go and have a look at QANX, because Royale is here, Shamu is here. It says concurrent view is 0, but this YouTube always lies to me. I have no idea who's viewing, actually. I know that Abu Bakr was here, and Shmoo is here, and Royale is here, and Chili was here a minute ago. So I'm hoping that you guys are still here. Haven't left me. Royale is saying QANX not increasing. Are you kidding me? It looks like it's increasing to me. How is that not increasing? So if everyone knows or doesn't know, I do a weekly Friday update on QANX. The last time I did it, just go to my YouTube channel. I actually need to put QANX in its own section. I know I need to do that. I haven't done that yet. I will. Crypto, candlesticks, and coffee, charting for the fun of it. My last update was QANX. Look at these QANX. Lots of QANX updates. And effectively, ooh, what's this bullshit advert? Let's get rid of that. Brain FM. What a load of shit. Look at this. I was just saying, let's go to my entering key support area on the chart, testing point and control and trend line. See that? 3-month candle analysis. I kind of went through QANX and just said, this is a good place, huh? Pretty good place. Potential bottom. This is kind of where I was looking for it to find support. I was looking at this monthly candle. I was going, hopefully we close higher. Let's have a look at the monthly candle as well. For an SR flip, I have to look at that SR flip. Remember that SR flip? I was talking about that SR flip. Then I was talking about some fundamentals. I was saying this is a really bullish candle, this 3-monthly candle. I'll explain why again. Because there's logic. It's logical, you know. It's not. You have to be logical. The charts and charting is logic. It's not emotions. It's logic. And so I guess that's why guys do so well at trading, because we're not emotional. We're logical humans. And this is the monthly candle. Why is that a good monthly candle? Because look at all that selling and the price failed to close lower. effectively. And there was a swing failure of the previous month low. You have a swing failure of the previous month low. It was unable to close lower with all of the selling. Red candles means bears are in control. Green candles means bulls are in control. When the bears are in control, what do they want to do logically? If you're a bear and you're selling, what do you want? You want the price to close lower than the previous month. The previous month low. You always want the price to close lower, lower, lower. If you're a bear and you're selling, you want the price to close lower because that means the price wants to continue going lower. And if you're a bull, you want the opposite. You want the bears to be in control, and yet you want the price to not close lower. That means the bears are in control, but they're failing to push the price lower. Yeah, so it's kind of reverse. It's a psychology thing. When you're looking at the 3-month candle, look at this. This is really interesting. You've got a really bearish 3-month candle there, right? You have another bearish 3-month candle. That means the bears are in control. But this bearish 3-month candle, I told you it was bullish. Why? Because it took the liquidity from the lows. It was a really strong buying tail. The bears are clearly in control, but they've only managed to push the price down from the open to the close by 6 or 7%. That's it. After 3 months, with almost the same volume as the previous candle, the bears have failed to push the price down significantly. So the bears are in control, but they're failing. And then the next 3-month candle, it looks bearish, doesn't it? So the price goes up, it gets sold into, sold into, sold into. It looks like the bears are fully in control, and yet again the bears are failing. They're struggling. They've managed to only pull the price down another 6%. You're getting more volume, and yet the bears are only struggling to push the price down 6%. It's really poor. Huh? It's weak. It's weak bearish price action. It's actually the bears failing. That's what it means. They're not only failing to push the price down with all of this volume, they're failing to bring the price underneath the point of control. They're failing to break this trend line. The bears are actually losing the battle. That's what these candles are telling us. And so naturally, I was actually really bullish on that 3-month candle. I was looking at it and going, wow, that's really bullish. And already from the 3-month candle close, we're already up 10%. The monthly candle looks bearish, but actually it's bullish because it's the same idea. Bears are in control, but the bears are pretty much useless. This weekly candle looks bearish. It actually is quite bearish, but because of the context of the higher time frame candles, hold a second. So, I mean, look, let's see what happens this week, because that is actually in the context of the monthly candles. The monthly candles and 3-monthly candles are dominating these weekly candles. But remember I said this SR flip, and look how relevant that SR flip was. And here you can see we're putting in higher lows. See that? So that's actually quite bullish, isn't it? And so the other thing that's happened here is that we're failing to go lower. The point of control, this trend line is being front run. We're putting in higher lows. This is really bullish. We're putting in a lot of volume. We're getting some real nice buying here. Maybe this is it. Maybe the low is in. We do have some liquidity levels to contend with. And so I haven't drawn them recently, but if you look at my Bitcoin analysis, you know how I do it. I've got liquidity levels which have to be contended with. Again, every week I promise I'm going to clean my charts. I never do. And so naturally I can't find anything. But let me just kind of mark them out now, because these are all old levels. I'll start with the monthly levels. Let's just let's get rid of all this shit. I'll update the volume as well now while I'm at it. Get rid of that SR flip. That's all good. Get rid of that. That monthly is relevant. I don't know about those. This is the monthly time frame. So these are really important levels. That's your monthly level. These are untapped levels. I'm just marking the untapped ones. There's one up there. Perfect. And then depending on if this monthly is green or not, there'll be one at the low. I don't know yet. Then you've got your weekly levels. Will it go parabolic after mainnet and big CX listings? Probably. But not financial advice. It's like Heineken, huh? Probably, but not the best. Not necessarily. No, we're not. Is it the best beer in the world? Probably. I don't know. Who knows? No one really knows. We need more volume, huh? That's really like, I keep on saying we need more volume. And until we get it, I'm not confident about higher prices until we see the volume come in. Let me just mark these levels out. Crazy about that. Probably up there. All right, just kind of whatever. I'm not going into much crazy depth, to be honest with you, because it is still quite a liquid. You've got your levels there. Let me just update the volume. What's that crazy PA? Oh my God. Oh yeah, remember what I said? Do we find support here? Yeah, it looks like we're finding support here first. I always said, you don't look for lower if you haven't lost support. All right, let's get rid of that brush stroke. What's that? Remember that? Remember this long? Yeah, crazy, huh? Amazing. What's that one? Remember that? Remember that pivot? Amazing, yeah, amazing. All right, all right, let's have a look. So some things I get right, some things I don't. We saw that price discovery channel to contend with at 4.3 cents. So I'll keep that. I'll get rid of this analysis now. That ABCD was really amazing when you combine it with that X, this one here. See that? How amazing was that? And then we had that cipher as well, which was pretty good. But then that's over now. We can get rid of that. Get rid of these trend bait. I'll leave them for now. I have to look at them. What else am I looking for? I mean, potentially we're still in the next wave because it hasn't actually taken that pivot low. So we do want to see big volume coming in here. All right, let's go back to the volume levels. No changes, huh? So there's literally no changes here. All right. And let's just get that price discovery channel in as well. They're quite important. So what do I think? I think as always, I want to see volume. And again, I'm not seeing it. So at the moment, the price is fluctuating with the wider crypto market. Bitcoin's going up. QANX is going up. Bitcoin goes down. QANX goes down. This whole thing is being very corrective, hasn't it? This whole price action, if you look at the slightly higher time frame, it's kind of just corrective, isn't it? After you have this kind of first impulse, we're in a bit of a correction. Could this be the next move, the next impulse? It could be, but I just want to see volume. I want to see volume, and I want to see levels flipped from resistance to support. We have a very important level here. This is monthly level. You can see it, can't you? I've marked it off here. So we have a really important level, and we have a higher level here, which is that weekly level. These are really two important levels that have to be flipped into support from resistance so you have to assume they're resistance until they become support, and that's just how I would kind of deal with this for the time being. This is the local volume, and so naturally you can see the point of control of this local volume from this pivot low here. You can see where it is. That's up there. And then if we were to draw fib, that's the golden pocket as well, just slightly underneath the golden pocket. We have quite an important resistance zone here, don't we? And that needs to be flipped into support. So while it's not flipped into support, that's going to be your big resistance. And what we really need to do is flip the point of control and because it's so close to the value area high, what we really need to do is we need to kind of flip that whole area into support for continuation, right? If we get that, we're flipping this value area into support, we're flipping the point of control into support, we're flipping the post-sac value area high into support. That's going to be real, it's going to require real strength to do that. Then if we get that kind of price action, we have a chance to put in a higher high, take out that pivot. If we take out that pivot, this whole thing becomes a V-shaped recovery. See that? And once you get a V-shaped recovery, then we're laughing because it means we're putting in higher highs, higher lows, which is bullish. And so we have a lot to contend with here, roughly around the 3.5, 3.6 level area. And we just have to see how the price behaves. Until then, the first sign that we're actually making progress here will be this first monthly level. Do we flip that into support? And we'll kind of, if we see that flip, then we're probably going up. If we don't, we get a little rejection, then we're just kind of still looking to head down, maybe go for the lows again. Yeah. And that's just a little pump fake out. But at the moment, it's looking quite nice. It's possible we reject, but it's also possible we just kind of, third time lucky, we just kind of go through and then head for the higher prices. And so really that's the area to contend with and to see what happens next. And that's basically it. I think that's QANX. We have to take out that pivot. Once we take out that pivot, then this whole thing starts to look really nice for continuation to the upside. So let me just mark that out. Area to flip to support for continuation. We need to see volume, and volume is really important. If I don't see the volume, I'm not convinced. And it's going to require a little bit of volume to get through this area. Right now, this area is pretty illiquid, and that's why the price is moving up. But once we get up there, if we can get volume, if we can get some nice announcements from the dev team, etc. Let's have a look. Oh, 2 hours ago, they like to post stuff on Friday. Signal advances post quantum security with triple ratchet upgrade. Signal just released its triple ratchet upgrade. So Signal is upgrading their stuff to quantum resistant technology. What was the last one? This is October the 2nd. NVIDIA just leveled up quantum computing. NVIDIA is boosting quantum computing by tackling major challenges like error correction, simulation, and circuit. Why is this important? Quantum error correction is now 2x as fast and more accurate with GPU accelerated decoders like AutoDeck. Using AI, decoding becomes 50 times faster. So they're posting stuff, and quantum is really big. Here, look, book a meeting with Quantum. They went to Singapore. They went to Korea. They're really active, huh? So I think we're good, huh? I think they're getting more active. The quantum tech is becoming more and more mainstream. We're putting in higher lows. We're front running key levels. Yeah. We're not going down. We're holding higher lows. I think people are starting to buy, and they're not selling. They're kind of just looking to buy the dips. I said with QANX, just buy the dips, right? And so we had a couple of opportunities. People had couple of opportunities to buy at the right place, didn't they? Look at that. I've had this trade plan up since I posted it 8th of September, almost a month. I've had this trade plan up for everyone. When the price was here, I was telling people this is a good place to buy, didn't I? So I think a lot of people have had plenty of opportunity to buy at the right place, and hopefully a bunch of you did do that. So that's QANX. I'm kind of looking to see what happens here. If we can get a nice flip from resistance into support, then we can really pump. I think if we can take out the high, that's a V-shaped recovery, and maybe then we can go for the value area high up here at 6 cents. And if we can do that, maybe we can, that's how it works. If we can flip one level, maybe we can go to the next level. We can flip the next level, maybe we can go to the next level, flip the next level, maybe we can go to the next level, and then we just go level to level. And if we can get a really nice, if we get the mainnet released, and I think for me, what I'm thinking, and that I'm looking at the price action, I'm looking at the charts, I'm seeing that we're putting in higher lows. I'm wondering if we can get to, so where is the outside trend line again? Is it that one? There it is. So I'm wondering if we can get the price somewhere here, and then the mainnet launches. And if that happens, that will be a really nice sell the news event all the way up into my target of 20 cents. And so that's kind of what I would love to see. I would love to see the price kind of going up into resistance for a little mainnet pump into 20 cents. And I'm still targeting 20 cents. I know you can hold for higher. I'm not selling all my QANX at 20 cents. I'll be looking to take profit. And that's the mentality, isn't it? Take profit. If everyone was to take profit at 20 cents, which would be a new all-time high, even if it's just like 10%, like you don't have to be greedy and take a little bit of profit, then the next big dip, if everyone was to buy back in, then we'll have another fucking crazy push to the upside. And that's really what we want, isn't it? We want everyone to take profit into a big higher time frame target, like 20 cents. And then if it continues going, you've only taken profit. It's not a big deal. Well done. That's like your payday for holding for 4 years, right? You take profit. Why would you not take profit for holding for 4 years? You take your fucking profit. That's your payday. You go and buy yourself a holiday or a car or something. You have to do that. If you don't do that, then you're too greedy. Yeah, and you're not rewarding yourself for all the patience of accumulating and holding. You have to take profit. But I'm not saying sell all. I'm saying take profit. Go and pat yourself on the back. But imagine if it hits 20 cents and we get a big pullback, then when we find support, guess what you can do with your profit? You can buy more, accumulate more, and then you get the fucking crazy pump, because all of a sudden everyone's doing the same thing. They're taking profit at the same place, and then they're buying back in the same place, and then we have QANX going up to a 75, 80 cents, which is my next target. Okay, so food for thought, not financial advice. It's just food for thought. All right, that's QANX. I think if people are interested, then the place to go is Telegram. The channel that I'm following is this one, this new platform, QANX Trading Unofficial channel. That's the one I kind of post my streams to, and that's where you get more kind of price action chat and all kinds of chat. Obviously, you can go to the Quan platform official, but they're just going to get the official conversations. That's kind of, this is the more unofficial price information, and that's where you get a lot of the kind of discrete information and targets, and people have got really bullish targets. I'm just kind of focusing on the technicals, but I have no doubt that once the net launches, we're going to get really strong price action, increasing volume, higher prices, and if we're lucky, China will hack Bitcoin. And if that was to happen, if they were to hack, imagine if China hacked the Satoshi wallet just for shits and giggles next month or whenever with a quantum chip, then we'll probably be looking at $100 QANX. We'll all be rich. Then everyone can tip me. Then I'll be expecting tips. All right. So that's QANX. I hope that helps. It's always fun streaming QANX. Let's see if we can get a nice breakout. All right. The last token that I'm going to look at today, I'm not going to look at anything else, is my favorite one. Oh shit, cake is up to $3.5. That's because of Binance Coin. Now look. Wow. It's up like almost 50% now. Wow. Amazing. So my token of choice is TRVL. I wear the D-Travel hat. I've got the D-Travel Superman t-shirt. I'm a strong advocate for D-Travel. I don't work for D-Travel. I don't get paid by D-Travel. But I'm a really strong advocate for D-Travel. Why? And I've talked about this many times in the past. I have properties on the D-Travel network. I'm going to show you now if this loads. I hope it does. There you go. This is my back end. I've completed 36 bookings and I have realized earnings over the last 3 years of $66,796. So I think if you've been following me, you see that it was 34, it was 33, it was 35, 36. So you can see it's going up. So if people are following me, you can see that it's going up. These are my listings. This is my direct booking website created by D-Travel for free. And what it does is it allows me to have my own direct booking website, as well as have my listings on Airbnb and booking.com. I don't have to be on either or. It's not mutually exclusive. I can be in all of them. And the calendars sync. And that's the great thing about D-Travel, that I don't have to worry about the syncing of the calendars. This is my Airbnb profile. I'm an almost 5-star rating, 4.99. I've been hosting for a bunch of time, nearly 10 years, 185 reviews, same properties, just on Airbnb. So I have a really strong profile and I'm advocating for D-Travel. I've got the proof of concept. I can show you clearly that this is working as a real world application, as a real world business with realized earnings, which has come into my pocket. I pay taxes on that. I'm self-declared in the UK, and with real bookings that show that there is a market for direct bookings, people who are returning, people who want to book directly, people who are referred through friends or word of mouth. And D-Travel is building a web application for travelers. And here you'll be able to search and book. At the moment, I'm in Buenos Aires in Argentina, but my mission is El Salvador. So that's what I've been doing over the last period of time. I've been trying to onboard properties in El Salvador onto the D-Travel network. So far, we've taken it from 0 to 12 results. These are different properties, different listings in El Salvador. And naturally, you can see that once this was 0, now we have 12. We have different locations. And my objective, oh, this is lovely. This is a new one. Look, boutique hotel with hot water. This is our newest addition to the D-Travel network in El Salvador. And I visited this property a couple of times. It's beautiful. And look at that. Look how amazing this property is. Look at those rooms. The location is off the charts. It's an amazing location. Again, you don't have to be off Airbnb. You can be on Airbnb. You can be, this is Angela. She's a 5-star super host, 7 years hosting. She's got a bunch of properties too. and we're onboarding people, we're bringing them onto the D-Travel network, because this is the beginning of something new. And if you've been following me, you'll be following some of the things I've been talking about D-Travel. And so right now, people don't really understand D-Travel. I think a lot of people think it's just an Airbnb alternative without Airbnb, so cutting out the middleman. And what I've been talking about is big changes coming, yeah, mega changes coming. And so right now, when you're looking at the real world network, you can see the growth of our real world network, and you can go to this link on June Analytics. You can have a look at that. I'll paste it into chat now, so the link is there for you guys, but you can see you can see the link here. It's just that, and you can see that we've got quite steady, I wouldn't call this exponential growth, I'll just call this proportional growth, steady growth over time. So we haven't actually hit exponential growth yet. We've got 5,644 listings over 140 countries in 1,238 cities, with an average booking value of $828 over the last 3 years. So everyone looks at this and think, okay, this is just another Airbnb. It's a decentralized Airbnb. It's a DAO, or it's becoming a DAO. And what I'm telling you right now is that actually this is going to be much, 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 much bigger than you could ever imagine. And I'm not going to reveal why and how just yet. But that's what we've been talking about. So Eric, he's the new CEO. This is my new Twitter X page cover. This is Eric on the right. This is me on the left. He came to visit me in El Salvador. He was here for 6 days. He's coming back to El Salvador in about a week's time. So I'm in Buenos Aires now, but I'm going to return to El Salvador in 6 days or 5 days time. And he's going to come and meet me there with his family. And we've been talking about big changes to D-Travel and TRVL. And if you watch my last video, and you should, this is the one. It's called Exciting TRVL. Oh, no, that's not the one. This is the one, the longest one, because these are these newest ones are just cuts from the long one. It's called D-Travel Update, Big Changes Coming, Leadership Shift, and Why I'm Bullish on the Future. And I explain in this video why, and I kind of hint at certain things, but the biggest thing is the leadership change, the leadership shift. And the leadership shift indicates a change in direction of the whole project. And so while the previous leadership were focused on creating an alternative Airbnb, the reality is that a lot of people on Airbnb won't come to D-Travel for many reasons, but one of the reasons why is that they're willing to pay the extra cost because of the advantages that they get, or the not enough advantages they get with D-Travel. Does that make sense? So people aren't going to leave Airbnb for saving 10% because there isn't enough perceived advantage with D-Travel. They don't see the value. They think, well, I'm willing to pay the extra 10% or 15%, whatever it is, because the cost benefit is still with Airbnb. I'm not getting enough benefit with D-Travel to justify shifting to D-Travel. It doesn't matter about the size. It's about the benefit. It's about the cost benefit. And so they're willing to pay the extra on Airbnb or booking.com because they're not getting enough advantages with D-Travel. That's changing. And the way we're going to change that, and just to kind of give people a little bit of a hint, is here. The token. And what we've been talking about in the past, and we've been talking about this for a long time now, over 2 years, has been an ongoing discussion with a disconnection between the token and the real world network. And so what you're seeing on the higher time frame with TRVL is a disconnect. This is the disconnect. The token keeps on going down in price. Effectively, people are just selling, buying and selling, but the sell pressure is more than the buying pressure. And what you're getting is the opposite in terms of the real world network. You see that? The growth of the network, the growth of the value of the network is going up. There's a massive disconnect. They're almost opposite. It makes no sense. The reason why is because the previous leadership created a tokenomics idea. If you go to the documents, you can read about that here in the documentation. A tokenomics model which didn't work. It was broken from the get-go. Actually, I don't think it was broken, okay? I think it was, I don't dare I say too far ahead of its time, but I think it was assuming that the whole world was using D-Travel and D-Travel was already a success. So a massive assumption was made without taking consideration of how to get from nothing or a fledgling, a small startup, to the size of what is required for this tokenomics model to work. So this was only going to work with the assumption that D-Travel was already a thriving business, with no consideration of how to take it from a fledgling business or a fledgling decentralized application to a successful decentralized application. There was no in between. There was no way to grow it from nothing to something. And so we can have discussions and debates about tokenomics all day long, but the reality is that the market rejected this idea. It's just a fact. When this was launched, somewhere around March last year, I'll show you on the token price. It was launched in March around here. See that? That's when the new tokenomics was launched. And what happened? The price of TRVL dropped 78%. We had a buyback, but the buyback only ended up in a lower high, and then we got the big sell-off. And the big sell-off coincided with the previous CEO going on maternity leave without instilling an interim CEO. So the D-Travel ended up without a CEO for a period of time. There was a lot of hush-hush at what was happening. There was no official announcement, and people who were behind the scenes disingenuously probably sold and left the project, and that led to a massive sell storm. And what happened was that we lost the all-time low. It was somewhere around February, and then that's when I called for heads to roll. I called for heads to roll, and effectively I was pushed out of the project because the previous leadership was unwilling to take accountability and responsibility for what they had actually created, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Okay, bringing us to our current position. Nothing's changed in terms of what needs to change. The previous tokenomics doesn't work. It's not relevant because it only is applicable to a massively successful business, which we're not at yet. And so what needs to change is the tokenomics. Fundamentally, that is the first thing that needs to change. And that is what I'm saying is going to change. The tokenomics is changing, right? What we're going to do is we're going to correct the mistake that was made, which is the disconnection between the value of the network, which is growing, and the value of the token, which has always been disconnected from the network growth. That's the primary change that's coming in the future, and the future is not far along. I mean, I'm talking near future. I'm not talking midterm or higher time frame. I'm talking lower time frame. I'm talking as a matter of weeks or maybe a couple of months or something like that, very close. That's what's changing. And that is going to change everything, because then as the network grows, the token will grow. And then what we can do then as D-Travel true believers is grow the real world network. And that's actually what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to grow the real world network, because then there'll be a direct connection between the growth of the real world network and the value of TRVL. And in the future, what you're going to see is you're going to see this number of listings go from 5,644 to 25,000 to 50,000 to 100,000, and we'll be able to pump during the bear market. And that's our aspiration. That's our ambition. So this is the biggest thing that's going to be changing. It's a massive change in direction. We're going to give TRVL real value within the D-Travel ecosystem, value that people will be able to have from the get-go. You're going to understand why to accumulate and hodl TRVL for the long term. And you're going to understand why grow the real world network. You're going to understand why bring your bookings onto D-Travel as opposed to Airbnb. And you're going to understand why why people should travel with D-Travel. So we're targeting all of those areas. We're targeting the hosting, the investor side, why stake, why hold TRVL for the long term, the hosting side, why people should bring their properties onto D-Travel, why people should bring their bookings onto D-Travel. We're tackling the traveler side, why people should travel on the D-Travel network and why people should use TRVL to book and reserve properties on the D-Travel network, and the community side. And it's going to be a grassroots movement. We're not just talking about a pump and dump tokenomics or a disconnected tokenomics from the real world growth. We're talking about a movement that we're going to create. It's not going to be another Shopify. It's not going to be another Airbnb. We're talking about a new idea, a new economy that we're going to be creating. It's going to be centered around positive energy coming into travel, targeting community, targeting travelers, targeting hosts and operators, and targeting investors, the whole shebang. Okay, so this is coming. This is happening. Watch this space. I've given you a lot of information. And so naturally, we're starting to see some bullish price action. Let's just go to the charts. I've been really bullish on TRVL, as you know. Now, this is interesting because the 3-monthly candle printed, didn't it? And I really wanted a piercing candle. We didn't get it. We didn't get a piercing candle. And what does that mean? I still think this is bullish. This is an inverse hammer. Look at the volume of this candle. It's off the charts. It's 4.14 billion TRVL in volume over the last 3 months. If you remember, and so I really want to just give you guys some insight. I came back and recommenced my streams on the 6th of July. Yeah. If you go to my pet playlist, my D-Travel playlist, and you scroll down and have a look at when I restarted my stream. So basically, look, I stopped my stream 7 months ago. See that? I stopped in my last stream. This is a cut. My last stream was 7 months ago on the 11th February. You see that? And I restarted my stream. Here it says 2 months ago. Look at this. Big D-Travel changes. And you go back and watch the stream if you want. Look at where the price was. Look at where the price of TRVL was. When I recommenced my stream, yeah, look at it. It was at, God, can I even see that? It's like 0.0054. Look at that. On the 6th of July, that's when I recommenced my stream. Okay. It says 2 months ago. It says 6th of July. You see that? 6th of July. Right? And if you look at the charts, in the last 3 months, and so basically this 3-month candle is July, August, and September. That's 3 months. And look at the volume that we've had in the last. So ever since I started my stream, we've had, it's incredible. We've had 4.14 billion TRVL in volume since I restarted my stream. Since I made that first video, big D-Travel changes will cause TRVL to explode in price. You see that? The market is reacting to the changes that are about to happen in D-Travel and in TRVL with a massive buy, with a massive volume increase. And that is testament to the failure of the previous leadership and the direction that they were taking us. They were taking us down the wrong path, and the market knew it. And now the market sees that everything is now about to head in the right direction, and the market is buying. That's what's happening. It's just in the charts. The charts never lie. You just can't ignore what the chart is saying. The chart is saying we've had the most volume ever in 3 months since I came back July till now. It's crazy. The nearest volume we've had was 1.36 billion. Look at that. Here, 1.31. We've like 3x the volume at the lows of this candle. This is an inverse. It's a really bullish candle. Now, I would have preferred a piercing candle. We didn't get that. All right. What does that mean? It means we still have a little bit of work to do, right? It means the market is still slightly apprehensive, not sure yet how it's going to receive the changes yet. They're not sure about the changes yet. We haven't announced the changes in detail. All they're seeing is that here I am on YouTube telling people there's a massive shift in direction, posting pictures of me and Eric on X, Eric coming to El Salvador, coming back to El Salvador, starting to see that we're doing work in El Salvador, Central South America. I'm in Buenos Aires now, which is all the way down here. I'm all the way down here somewhere here, wherever we are. I don't know. I've got to find it. And people are getting a little bit excited. They're starting to accumulate, but yet we still have to change the tokenomics. We still had to get rid of the flood. We still have to help people to understand what's going on with all of these different weird funds that no one really understands. No, I never really understood the community treasury, the foundation reserve. I didn't understand why they were segregated. I never understand how and why all these contributors and advisors got so much TRVL for basically doing jack shit, or for taking us to continued lower lows. There's so much uncertainty in the previous direction of the travel. And here I am now trying to bring certainty, remove the fear, and get rid of the doubt. And that's what we're experiencing now. We're starting to experience a shift in sentiment. So we didn't get the close above the 3 month. I don't think it matters, because remember what I said, the monthly candle mustn't close below the previous month low, and it didn't. I didn't want the monthly candle to close lower. It didn't. So this red monthly candle was an inside candle. It's actually quite bullish because it was increasing volume and it failed to close lower. That's actually quite bullish. Okay. It means the bears were in control for that whole month, but they failed to close lower. They failed to make that candle a bearish engulfing candle. It closed higher than the previous month low. It's an in-range candle. It's bound by the previous candle range. So it's just a range-bound candle. And effectively, people who bought in at the beginning of the month were buying at the beginning, at the exact low of that month range. And the price is, from that low, it's already 23% higher, right? I bought some. I bought about 120, 140,000 TRVL right at the low, because it's obvious what was happening. It was obvious what it was, all right? It's not a 3 month piercing candle. And at the moment, what I'm looking at is exactly what I told you. I'm looking for the price to break and hold 2 cents. Nothing's changed. So I'm still on that page. I'm still looking for a break and hold of 2 cents. And I'm just wondering what happens next. Could this be, it looks like an inverse head and shoulders, except that this head is higher than that shoulder. So it's a bit weird the way it looks. But we are in bullish market structure. Could this be the higher low that we were hoping for? That's the higher high. This is the higher low. What we'll find out if the price can break the neckline there. If we get a break to the upside, then we're probably looking at a 3 cents target, kind of exactly what I was talking about before. If we can get a break, and then if we can hold 2 cents by the end of the year, that's going to look really bullish. And so I just want to kind of show you what bullish looks like. I'm looking at the yearly candle, and ideally what I want to see is the yearly candle to close above the previous all-time low. for that candle to close not lower but above 2 cents. And then, because if it closes lower, it would be a bearish engulfing with crazy red volume. And if it did that, then we'd probably have another rotation to the lows. But if it closes higher than the previous all-time low, then it's just it's just a range-bound candle. It's an inside candle, and it's a swing failure of this low on a yearly time frame, which makes it extremely bullish. So this is the real test. The next 3 months is going to be a real test for D-Travel and for TRVL to see how this yearly candle closes. And the next 3 months is going to be really important for what happens next in D-Travel and TRVL, how this closes next. We need to close above the previous all-time low. So if you're a bull, if you're bullish and you want to see higher prices, then have it in your mind that we close the end of this year above the previous all-time low, right? The exact number is going to be whatever this low is here. There. I can mark it out here. We need to close above this level. So 0.019613, thereabouts. I would say 2 cents, to be honest with you. That's our target. And so if you're bullish, then let's do this. Let's close the end of the year above that level, and then this yearly candle is going to look really, really bullish. It'll be like a swing failure of this low, and then the next year, i.e. next year, we're going to have a really massive move to the upside, an explosive move, and probably heading for at least 30 cents. Can you imagine that? Right up to there. And that would be a complete reversal of this candle. And then who knows? Who knows what happens next? Because crazy things can happen. If we get this kind of candle with this kind of volume, with a swing failure of the all-time low, then actually you could get a crazy, crazy next candle. Could be the God candle of the ages. And I'm still targeting all-time highs. I really am. Like, and people think I'm a bit mental. I've got an idea of the changes that are coming. I think the market's going to get really excited. So I'm still targeting all-time highs. It's going to be next year. I can't see it this year, but I'm thinking next year we could have an attack of the all-time highs with what's coming. All right. So that's my TRVL update. I'm really positive on the future. If you guys want to interact with me, then just feel free to comment on this video. Also, you can come onto Telegram. I'm always chatting here. This is me in green, and lots of chats. That's where I post my videos too, which is on my X page. We're getting lots of people join. Gregory, who's Gregory? Michael, welcome, welcome. We see you get new bookings processed. More welcome people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. New booking process, new site activated, new booking processed. Lots of activity here. And I know that Andrea is in Dubai right now. And I know that James went to the Singapore token conference. So we're actually pretty active in these crypto conferences. I think Andrea went to Korea as well, South Korea. So there's a lot of things happening. I'm here in South America right now. I'm here in Buenos Aires representing D-Travel. But my main mission is El Salvador, and Eric, the CEO, is coming to El Salvador next week. So there's some big things happening across the board in D-Travel. Let's have a look at the X page for D-Travel and see what's going on there. Anything interesting? No caption needed. Our face when they told us they were all in crypto but keep paying their trips with fiat. It's a little bit of a joke. It's quite funny. Next big step, listing properties in Singapore so travelers and locals can receive and pay with XSGD. Only possible thanks to D-Travel and Base. Okay, so nothing new yet. A lot of people ask me about the marketing. What's going on with the marketing? Well, that's one of my missions, actually. One of my missions is the marketing. I'm not going to reveal anything yet. But when it happens, you guys are going to be so shocked and so surprised and so impressed. Just watch this space. I've got some ideas and I think they're going to blow your mind. Yeah. And actually, that's what we need. We need the community to rise up. Buy some TRVL so you have skin in the game, not financial advice. And then you, I are the marketeers. You, I are the D-travelers. You, I are the hosts. You, I are the investors. You, I are the people who can turn D-travel into the movement that I believe it's about to become. So watch this space. Thank you for tuning into my streams. I'm always here, always available, happy to have a chat. Come onto Telegram, comment on my X page, comment underneath my videos. Happy to engage with anyone who's interested to chat. This is me on the plane. My D-travel, I'm always wearing my D-travel hat, no messing about. And there is another picture actually I wanted to show you. Just a little kind of El Salvador picture. I don't think it's been posted anywhere, so it's a little sneak peek of what's going on in El Salvador. We're doing a lot of work there, huh? And the hardest part is the beginning, always the beginning. I'm just opening it up on WhatsApp here, and then I'm just going to paste it in. My WhatsApp's a little bit slow. Let me just try and find it first. Oh my God, my WhatsApp is really slow. Give me a second. Let me just quickly find it. Oh, wait, I don't think I can find it. How embarrassing is that? I'm sure I can. Oh, there it is. All right, I'm going to paste it here. But the image paste is way too large. What the hell? All right, I'm going to have to print screen. There you go. Look at this. This is our new initiative, D-Travel El Salvador. And so we're working really hard. Okay. And actually the D-Travel El Salvador collective went to an orphanage. So a little bit of a photo op. I wasn't there. I was somewhere else doing something else. But we're really working hard to create something big. And D-Travel is more than just what people perceive it to be, an Airbnb or Shopify. It's not. It's much bigger. You'll see. All right. Thanks for joining my stream, and watch this space. We'll see you next Friday. Take care.